Okay, keep it going.
There it is, right there. A little throwback to 1991.
Still got the moves, the
when
shoulder
Tyra
shake.
Banks was in Michael Jackson's Black or White music video. Welcome back to Access Live.
Tyra, tell us about that video. What do you remember the most about that?
So I remember all of us in a room, and I was 17 years old. I hadn't even had like my big push as a model in Europe yet. I was just a local high school girl that was modeling. And I got cast for this. They put us all in a room and they were like, okay, here are the dance moves. This is what you have to do. I'm in there for about 2 minutes. I'm like, I got soul. I got this. So I walk out. Very cocky. I walk out like, I got this. Then I get on set, and I think the director was John Landis, which is like legendary director.
Wow.
And they're like, okay, they turn up the music, and I'm like, and I forget the move. And so I just go, and then they kept it. So I got rewarded for my bad behavior.
Right?
You nailed it.
So cute.
Did you ever meet Michael then, that time?
Huh?
Did you meet Michael during that time?
So I went back home. I went back to school the next day, and I'm like, oh my God, Michael Jackson's so amazing. We hung out, and he like was in the room with us, and it was just so great. We're best friends. He wasn't there.
That's my
I lied to everyone and said he was there.
But did you ever meet him after that?
Yes,
Yeah.
later I met him. I went to a concert of his in New York City at Madison Square Garden,
Wow.
and after I got to meet him in his dressing room. He was really sweet. I mean, you know what's funny, Bill, though, because, you know, Michael Jackson, you know that voice in that interview, and he talks like that. And so his nephew was in the room throwing like a really bouncy ball, like a ball that comes with jacks, you know, those kind of like bouncy balls,
Oh, yeah.
off the dressing room mirrors, and it was going on the ceiling, it was going everywhere, and Michael Jackson was like, you better stop throwing that ball, you better sit your butt down. I was like,
Michael,
Uncle
we never
Mike.
saw.
it's like a deep voice.
Hey, you better sit your butt down.
You better
Hey.
sit your butt down.
Sit your butt
Gary,
down.
Indiana came out.
Now, Tyra, what were
and
you
the
saying?
bass.
So Tyra, for you, we're talking about the 90s. When did you know you had made it?
I knew I'd made it when I had my first $5,000 check. And
Damn.
my mom and I went to California Pizza Kitchen and bought every pizza and pasta, like barbecue chicken pizza, Thai chicken pizza. I'm like, $5,000. At the time, that's when I thought I had made it. And then the big making it, I think, was being on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition and being the first Black model to ever do that.
Let's talk about that because, I mean, you really changed the face of the modeling industry back in the 90s. I mean,
literally.
you were the star. I mean, everybody, you were everywhere. What was life like for Tyra Banks in the 90s?
You know what? It was pretty surreal. When I look back, I'm like, gosh, like that was really major. But when I'm living it, I didn't understand just how big everything was. I kind of think about like social media. If social media was back then, I think I probably would have been one of the most followed people, but just based on that at that moment. And so I only am able to like reflect back as opposed to, you know what I mean? Think about it and
And then
Flashback.
acting, Tyra, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Was that your
Yes.
very first acting moment? And what did it feel like being on set? Look at you.
Yes, that was my very
Look at
first
Jackie.
acting job. I hadn't done any acting before that. And I auditioned for that. And they said they were looking for someone to play Will Smith's girlfriend on the show and that she was a basketball player. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to dress like a basketball player. So I dressed in like big jean sweats, you know, a sweatshirt, a hoodie. And I walk into the audition and there are all these women that have on little black dresses and high heels. And I'm like, oh my God, I made the biggest mistake. Like, what am I doing here? I feel so out of place. I audition, and then the casting director goes, can you come back in a couple of hours? I'm like, okay. So I come back in a couple of hours, same clothes. I'm like, I guess it worked. And in the room is Will Smith. And they had me read with Will Smith. And as I turn around and I'm walking out, Will calls my name, and he's like, you got it. And I was like, oh my God.
See, we
So
were
that's how that
rooting for
happened.
you. We were all rooting for you. That's awesome. I think that's one of the things you always talk about when you're mentoring, when you're on part of these shows, staying true to what you know, to what you believe, because it will carry you through when the other stuff doesn't.
Exactly, and you know, that was a big lesson for me, like in differentiation. Like everybody was all dressed up and looking like they were going to the club. I came in looking like a basketball player. She's from Philly, from the hood of Philly, where Will Smith's character comes from, and so I represented that, and it worked. So yeah, it's following your gut, being authentic, and not being afraid to stand out. Because I almost went home to get into a black dress for Will. And I was like, no, they liked this, so let me just stay here.
Perfect.
Well, what about AGT? Because we have hung out backstage at AGT. I know it's coming back this summer. AGT Champions with Terry Crews. Will we see you come back to AGT this summer or what?
I don't know. I think I had a really nice run with AGT. I had a lot of fun. I'm, really focusing on life size and really focusing on I'm going to be producing TV, and I have a massive project starting next year. I'm not so sure.
Okay.
But if I don't come back, I had a lot of fun.
A massive project. Can you give us a hint?
It is so massive. It's really making me really look at everything that I'm doing and saying, what can I peel off, what can I not do, and what can I truly focus on? And I have, it's coming out in the fall of next year. I want you guys there. I want you at the opening. It is something that has never been done before.
Tyra.
And it might make me
Lean in,
Tyra.
It's just between us.
It's
just us girls.
Come on.
Okay, you know what?
Scott.
And me.
Slide into my DMs. And
Oh, I got you, boo.
Just
Me and
like
Drake.
MC Hammer.
That's an invitation like I've never heard before.
Tyra, we love you. Have the best holiday with your son and your family.
Indeed. Life Size 2 premieres Sunday at 9 on Freeform. Don't miss it.
And we hear Tyra raps in it. So.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta make
It's
that
gonna be
stank face.
good. The stank face, right? You got that. Scott, you got the stank face nailed.